slow. They think that we don't know, so we gon' show them that this kingdom about to rise up. They wanna keep us low. They think that we don't know, so we gon' show them that this kingdom about to rise up. Rise, 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 rise. Every time I turn around.
How you doing, folks? Welcome back. We Rise Podcast.
You already know.
We got a beautiful lineup for you today. Had a cancellation with Rob, but we'll be seeing him in the future. But we got some good people coming on, and Jarrod's gonna let you know how it's going down.
You know the Hulk already. Man, right? Tonight, obviously, you see, there's three of us on We Rise tonight. But in the end, I didn't mind sitting in the middle. They made a handsome sandwich out of me. I don't even want mustard or mayonnaise, just handsome sandwich. What better? Right?
Yeah.
Let me take this mask off.
Yeah. I don't care. So, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, obviously we have Billy Vigeant. Definitely a household name in Rhode Island, a sports host of a TV radio show, owner of the two sports stores, Billy V, Sports Collecting. What else, Billy? Interviewed over 350 Hall of Fame legends in sports. His work was with Vinny Paz. He made the sports card set. Is that right?
Yeah, the comeback set after he broke his neck. And then we did another thing called the Boxing Legends, which were transfers on canvas. Our first subject was Willie Pep. The second one was Carmen Basilio and Tony DeMarco depicting the Boston Massacre. What's beautiful about those was they were both inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in Canastota, New York, and also into the National Italian American Hall of Fame in Chicago, Illinois. And then the Sports Museum in New England up in Boston.
Listen, we have a wealth of knowledge today. Billy V, what was it? His work. You worked with boxing, International Boxing Hall of Fame.
Oh, Jarrod, you being a boxer, boxing was one of my fortes. When you talk about one of your favorite sports, boxing is one of my favorite sports. I love boxing my whole life, and coincidentally, so what I used to do, I used to be at the Boxing Hall of Fame in Canastota, New York. For 10 years straight, I used to do a show from there every year, induction weekend. So I worked with everybody and anybody, you name it, from as far as Ken Norton all the way down to Marvin Hagler, to Lou Duva, to Alexis Arguello, God rest his soul, to Aaron Pryor. I worked with them all, fortunately enough.
I was fortunate enough to, I remember City Life, right, Bill? Was it City Life?
That's way back, bro. Yeah.
Joe Caprio, shout out to Joe Caprio in City Life. Joe does a great job. Joe Caprio does all the film work for Judge Caprio, who's another Rhode Island icon, beautiful heart, beautiful person. Judge Caprio is amazing, isn't it? I'd love to have Judge Caprio on my show. I'm working on it.
You amaze me. You know why? You got such a great memory. That was 1990. Funny enough, for the first time the other night, I'm watching TV, and I watched The Godfather, Coda.
Yeah.
And who's in there is Vito Fermo. Make a long story short, he was a world champion, Vito. And back in 1990, me and Joe Caprio, we did a show down at Foxwoods that I interviewed 10 legends. I'll tell you a quick story of boxing. Ray Boom Boom Mancini was there. Vito Fermo was there. Carmen Basilio was there. Tony DeMarco was there. So, make a long story short, Jake LaMotta was there. Now, Jake LaMotta, if you guys know, the Bull. Make a long story short, I said, you know what? I got to play this right, because Jake would have said, kid, screw, I don't want to do nothing with you, right? So, you know what I did? I did all the interviews. I'm coming down to my last interview. He goes, hey, kid, what about me? Me, I'm the Bull, Raging Bull. I said, oh, Jake. You're up right next after this guy. And then make a long story short, the interview went down. Because if I did it the other way
Yeah.
and try to grab him first, he would say, get out of here, I don't need you.
Yeah.
I did him last. He felt like he was being left out, and he loved it. And the show went down. And I'll never forget that.
That's awesome.
And I asked him if he'd like to steak charcoal because of the movie Raging Bull.
I love that story. That reminds me of when I went to the Civic Center, and I'm not a big wrestler follower. It's not my thing. But, Ronda Rousey was at the Civic Center, and
I would have had to be there for that one.
Yeah, and she was there, and I got in the back. I do my little, you know what I mean? I move around, and so I see her, and I'm like, it's Ronda Rousey. I'm like, oh, I said, oh, Ronda, you're not supposed to be in the back asking for pictures because most of them, they don't want to hear it. But Ronda came right over, took a picture, and it was awesome. Then I see Kurt Angle limping by, and I was like, Kurt, and he looked at me like he said he wanted to come over and suplex me, but I made that a surprise for that. But,
See, it's so funny you say that. My forte in the business of radio and television was the legends of the world of sports. I interviewed so many guys going back from baseball to football to basketball, hockey, and then now boxing. And then being involved in the collectible world, I had 2 sports stores. One was on Middle Spring Avenue in North Providence, and one was in Cranston on Reservoir Avenue. And coincidentally so, it happened to spring off of that. I got to start representing different clients and different athletes because what I did is I did a radio show to bring those cards to life. But what happened was with boxing, that was my forte. And I worked on like the Vinny Paz card set after Vinny broke his neck. We did something to resurrect his career because he was coming back into the ring. And then the trading card set, the comeback set was a 9-card set. And then we made history with that because it was the first sports card set to be ever done on one particular boxer chronologically. It was never been done before. So we got national and world recognition for that. So that's what made us be put into the Hall of Fame because nobody else ever did it before I did it.
That's unique, Billy. You've been doing this for a long time. 41 years old. What do you know about Billy Vigeant?
Yeah, I'm learning a whole bunch lately.
Hold on, what did you right?
Yeah.
So
I think I got socks that old man.
Yeah.
41 years old.
I'm 41 years old, but 24 professional fights. So
20, yeah.
I feel a little bit older sometimes.
Yeah. Well, life can life brings
Sometimes
value,
younger.
Yes.
Peter Pan syndrome, like Grandma said.
But Billy V been doing this for a long time before all the podcasts and all the TVs are out, and before anybody was doing it, you were doing it on your own. You had the little round table. It was like a little, you had your own little setup, but you always had a little circle of old school sports memorabilia and Roger Clemens, Oil Can Boyd. You'd get all the Hall of Fame athletes back then.
I'll tell you how old I am. Okay, as far as doing this, you say that. Back then, when I first started this business, there was 3 different cable channels: Cox, Dimension, TCI. So when I bought time off those TV shows, I had a TV show and I did commercials and all. We'd have to produce 3 different shows and it'd be aired on 3 different times because there's 3 different cable systems.
Wow.
So make a long story short, but my radio show, that's where it all began, was a big hit because that was the pregame show to the New York Yankees on WICE.
I got the Red Sox.
And I don't know, they offered me the Yankees. I was a Yankee fan. I said, I'll take it.
A Yankee fan. How long you had that problem?
Here we go.
This guy.
All right, we're going to stick to boxing there.
Talk about the Pats.
So then we went to
Out
national.
of the playoffs, Pats.
Yeah.
This guy's always talking about the Raiders.
Can I-
Raiders, Patriots, come on.
The Patriots and stuff. But anyway, as far as what happened was I jumped from there to a national syndicated show. And then in my other side life, I owned Good Sports and Entertainment, which I partnered up with a 2-time Super Bowl champion, Jim McMahon, called Good Sports and Entertainment. Now there, I got into representing different clients on different projects. And we did different things, no matter if it was a product endorsement, commercial endorsement, public speaking engagement. And this is where, as far as how this piece tonight, which I'm very excited to unveil, just for you people out there to know, this piece that we're going to be talking about tonight, this is from a series called the Boxing Legend Series, which is very unique all in itself. The piece is fabulous. If you could see it in person, you'd die. Second of all, the detail is second to none. But what's unique about it There's only 49 pieces in the world. This is the first place that's ever been seen worldly, nationally, and locally. And I wanted to do something different because, number one, my friendship and love for Jarrod.
This is beautiful.
And second of all, as far as for you sports fans out there, give you something, because I'm from here, I'm consulting on this project, and I just thought it had to be shown here at Jarrod's place. So
I'm holding this piece right now in my hand. It's so well built, and this is designed. You want to hold it up?
no, what I
introduced
want to do is I'd like to do is bring in the guy that created this, because
Yeah.
I'm not no artist, but I want to talk about Michael Roche. Michael Roche and I, believe it or not, we met on a phone call.
Okay. Then.
On a phone call. I called because I saw his work. As you know, I collect high-end bronzes, I collect high-end sports collectibles. And me and Michael itself, I contacted him because I bought some of his hockey work. But what I found very interesting is the detail that he put into it. But Michael, come to find out, did work with Warner Brothers. He's worked with Disney. He's worked with the Wizard of Oz program, worked with a variety of different things. He's also worked with the Naismith family and did the Naismith trophy that Michael Jordan received. So this guy is not some local kid that just gets started out. And at the same time, he does high quality work. So I'd like to bring in Michael Roche. Michael, you out there, buddy?
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It'll be okay.
You all right, Mike?
Yeah.
Hi, buddy.
I've been entertained listening to you guys.
Great to see you tonight, buddy.
Thank you.
Well, we're all excited out here as far as we talked about earlier itself. The brief synopsis as far as on your career, maybe you want to elaborate a little bit more than I did. But what I found very unique about when we first started to get to know one another, because I thought you were a tremendous artist and sculptor.
This is amazing.
You were a fireman too.
Yes, sir. I was a fireman for 40 years, and I drove a ladder truck, fire engine, and a squad right outside Chicago. But I was an athlete before that. I played college hockey. I got a scholarship and went up to Canada for a while. And that's what got me into sculpting, art and sports. I was working commercial art with Warner Brothers, MGM, doing their Wizard of Oz series and Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, as well as giftware. But I always loved sports. And when the Sports Classic series came about, I jumped on it. And Rocky Marciano, of course, who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah.
The guy was a legend, still is a legend. And I find that doing sports art, I really enjoy sports. But, you know, again, I work commercial art, so I work for several different clients. And so I've done things across the board, whether it be the Wizard of Oz or Western pieces. I enjoy sculpting. That's the main thing that I really like. But I think this is going to be an interesting series that we're going to be starting, because we're going to do all famous athletes that actually were probably older back in the 50s and going back to Jim Thorpe, and people that are really icons in their sports. And you can look at back in their history is something that everybody agrees they are great. And that includes Rocky Marciano. But whether it be Palmer or doing Naismith, or you probably don't know old Tom Morrison, that's golf, and Barden. But anyways, top guys in their field that made a difference in sports. That's where I want to go.
You know what I found, Michael, that was very interesting when we started talking, and at the same time when you told me about this piece and you wanted to do something like this, and we talked about it, and I know at first you were a little reluctant, but at the same time because of the monetary situation. But there's only 49 of these, which, as you know, I'm a collector. It's unheard of. And I think it's a great thing, and I'll tell you why. Because number one, this is not for the regular guy. First of all, this is all precious metal on here. This is made out of pewter, which we'll talk about in a minute. But collectability-wise, just so you know, I had 2 sports stores, and what happened was the sports craze took in 1990. Everybody started collecting sports cards because they realized they started finding older cards from years ago from their grandmother and grandfather that had them. They used to pitch them against the wall, and nobody held on to them. Nobody had a way of protecting them. So with that being said, that's what created value. Now, what happened was once the sports manufacturers recognized that fact that people were buying them, they made more of them. So what that did is kill the value of future. So when you went to sell your collection that you were buying for yourself or your kids or whatever, you were getting nothing for it. So now it's worth nothing. With this in itself, this piece here with only 49, worldwide 49, which is unheard of. Second of all, it's almost guaranteed to double and triple in future value because guess what? Once the 49 is gone, it's gone. So I think then on top of it, the series, the Sports Legend series, is going to be phenomenal. But let's talk a little bit about this piece
Well,
here. But
on that point, Billy, I agree with you 100%. If when I was doing the bronze piece and selling in galleries, this piece we would probably do 150 to 250 on it. 49 is real low, and the reason being is your mold costs can be 10, 15,000 in molds. So it's really a difficult thing to go that low, and it definitely will have value when there's so few of them. There'll be a lot more people that want the piece than it's available, which is going to bring the price up on it.
Now, when you do the sports series, are
Yes,
you gonna have limited on all the series that you do?
Yeah, we will be limited. I'm not sure. I think with Rocky, we wanted to come out with a real good number so that the people that do buy it will have an investment. We really kind of want to go higher than that number because it's hard. It's a rough one to do because of our cost in manufacturing and getting the whole thing started. And that's what creates the value is there's so few of them. I think we might go a bit higher. We aren't going into the thousands, but we may go up to maybe 100 pieces for Vince Lombardi. I think we're going to Lombardi next. We may go up on the numbers there, but it's still going to be the series will be limited if that's what you're asking.
Yeah. This piece is amazing. I have to say it's just put together so well.
Thank you.
It's ironic because we do a Rocky Marciano tournament here in New England every year. Richard Capiello, who's a dear friend of mine, and also a boxing promoter out in the Boston area, he's actually cousins with Rocky Marciano. So every year they do a Rocky Marciano tournament. And one of my fighters won the Rocky Marciano tournament, the belt. So
how many people are involved in the Rocky Marciano tournament? Is that go the whole coast, New England, or is that just a Massachusetts thing? How does that work?
It's all over New England.
Yeah.
All parts of New England: Vermont, Connecticut, Mass, Rhode
That's
Island.
great.
Yeah. So
that's competitive then. If you're taking in that many states, that's got to be one heck of a competitive tournament.
Yeah, it's a very successful tournament. Rich does a great job with the promoting for it, and there's always a good competition fighting for that title.
But what I love about this, you're going back to, you talk about Rocky Marciano. First of all, Rocky being your first subject, and coincidentally doing 49. The reason why you're doing 49 is Rocky had 49. He's the only heavyweight champion in the world in the history to go 49-0.
And that's why the 49.
That's why there's 49 only limited edition pieces. Second of all, what's unique is that any of you people that order, like say you're number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, you are guaranteed that same number on the next issue of the next bronze. So that way you can have that low number. Now, if I myself, like I'm out there and I'm looking at this, with only 49, I would buy 2 of these.
So let me ask you.
One, because I keep it. The second one, I would resell when the 49 are sold out. I get my money back on the first one.
So what could somebody buy this piece for?
All right, it's $12.50 right now. But it's casted in pewter, and it's a fine metal with patinas and a mixed metal look. It's a gallery item.
Oh yeah.
Well, the detail is absolutely phenomenal, which I get off of. I don't know if you people could see this at home, but the hair has actually strokes of hair, and on his boots you can see the actual decals, and it's amazing.
Stroke his hair.
Can I borrow some?
I was gonna say you could use some. But coincidentally so, just the detail, when you look at pieces and, detail on work, some guys put it together and as far as it all blends, you took the especially, and even the ropes have the whole simulation of being in the ring. I just find it absolutely phenomenal. When I saw this in person, and when me and Michael were talking about this, and he sent me pictures of it, and it was nothing that I expected. Nothing.
And
it was that much greater.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Is Rocky Marciano top 5 of all time heavyweights.
If you're
In boxing.
if you're Italian, you're gonna say yeah.
What do you think?
Only
You know, from my studying, of course, you guys are pros at this. I would say Rocky Marciano is definitely top 5. And it depends, like you say, if you're Italian, it's probably your guy. But it's real hard to tell going through generations and comparing somebody from the 50s to somebody in the 80s. It's not doesn't matter what sport it is. You know, I would say, yeah, you got to put him. If you're saying the best in the world ever, I think you got to put him in your top 5. You know, and then it's personal opinion.
Remember one thing too, Rocky Marciano weighed 185 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay? Remember that. That's as far as the light
He
heavy.
started late too, right?
You know what I mean? So, you know, the heavyweights, as far as that's a 2 different animal versus as far as, you know, a guy that was in there at 240, 250, or Lennox Lewis or George Foreman. You know what I mean? 185 pounds, he was a killer.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so
I agree. I think who would be your top 5? That's interesting. Let's see. We're on the top 5.
Well, I don't know if I'm the right guy to ask because you guys you guys are pros at
I would
this.
say Muhammad Ali's got to be there.
I think it's all
Are we
perspective.
talking heavyweight?
Yes.
It's all a matter of personal opinion.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed Muhammad Ali.
I like Ray Robinson.
Yeah.
Figure Ray.
But when I look at the old fights and I compare them, they're all so good. It's hard to. At my age now, I wouldn't want to even do that. I would say, you know what, he was the greatest in his time. There's no question about it. And compare him with somebody from today. And of course, Ali, the way he danced around, guys, he was unbelievable. So I don't know. It's but when you put yourself in the top 5 boxers or the top 10 boxers ever, that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
It really is. And like so many different generations. Think about this. Sugar Ray Robinson, what do you have? 175 professional fights. Think about that.
Yeah.
If you have 50 professional fights today's day and age, that's like a lot.
That's
like
a lot.
50 and they're going less rounds, and the gloves are bigger. And Sugar Ray Robinson, 175 fights.
I know a guy that had more than that.
Think about that. How many times a week are you fighting?
You know who fought that more than him? Willie Pep.
Oh yeah.
Willie Pep, the Will of the West, fought 235.
Amazing.
Lost 11 and one
Fighting
draw.
once a week.
That is unbelievable.
235. Forget about it.
Think about the fighters of today. We're doing 10, 12 rounds. The gloves are different. You know, they wore them horse
There's
hairs.
more
Them
protection,
you know, you're talking 15 rounds of like 200 fights.
Let me ask you a question, Jarrod. You were a boxer.
It was.
I remember, no, I'm just saying, Rocky used to have a signature punch. Not only just his right, but he used to come down like a club. Sometimes when he would get a guy, he would barrage him. The guy starts staggering. He would come down like a hammer. I don't even know if that would be allowed today.
Is hammer fist allowed?
Is that allowed? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Listen, in a fight is a fight. Like I
You've been in the ring, so
What's the ref gonna do?
I used to do a few things in there that I would turn my left hook into an elbow. I would, you just got to disguise it the right way. But I mean, I get away with a lot of things in there. And as you get experience, I think you can sneak them in here and there. But if that's what you're going to be your MO, then I think you're in trouble.
Hey, I'll tell you a funny story. I'll never forget. I was at the Roy Jones, Vinny Pazien's press conference in Scores in New York.
I was at the fight too.
And I'll never forget this. Roy says, just like this to Vinny, he says, Vinny, listen to me. This is going to be a fight. Once you get dirty, the fight's over. And Vinny used to have a shot. He used to throw the right when it's right, but he used to run on the side where your ties were, as far as the strings. He would throw it and try to pull it against the eyes. I'll never forget it. The 6th round, he went like that to Roy. If you watch the fight, Roy went like this.
It's the end of the fight.
I was going to say, what'd I tell you? That's it. It's over.
Bing,
bing, bing, bing. Turn around, that was it. The round was over. The fight was over.
That fight was, I was there. I was at that fight.
Yeah,
So when you talk about,
I watched it. I wasn't there. I think I was too young.
antics and Rocky Marciano, old-time legend, this has it all. When I look at this piece, it stops time. It eliminates as far as the vintage feeling of the old time smokers, guys smoking in the actual arena. And if I was just seeing the old days, and what's even beautiful is on this piece, I know you just redid this, Michael, as far as this is an actual record.
Beautiful.
And you spelled out as far as the full names of these guys that he fought. Am I correct?
And what round
That's
they got
right,
knocked
Billy.
out.
We thought it would be important, since he was a legend and he was undefeated, to put those guys in there on the base and show, because there were some great fighters that he took on. And
Yeah,
I think it's
the
important
names
that they
are
see
amazing.
that. But what's that?
No, the names, the way you did the names, and just so you don't, most of you can't see it.
He's revising that to put Jersey Joe Walcott instead
yeah.
of just Joe Walcott, because
Yeah.
people just don't know.
This is beautiful. It's a beautiful piece. This piece is legendary, no question about it. So it's so fitting that it's being displayed at Legendary Boxing to kick off. This piece is special. Billy, thank you. I appreciate this.
Well, as far as Jarrod, you're my dear friend, and your family, you know what they mean to me. And at the same time, what's a better way to kick it off worldwide now? Mind you, this is to the world. This is not like as far as, you're talking down the street. I'm just showing you guys like I did last week, but this is the first preview and premiere of this piece around the whole world.
You're seeing it live on We Rise.
We rise.
Not only are we showing this amazing piece today, but they made a handsome sandwich out of me. And this is like some of the most beautiful days of my life right now.
Well, I
Look
gotta
at
tell
this.
you, Michael, enough for nothing. See, he won't let me take my mask off because he's afraid I'll give him a scare. But all kidding aside, with this piece, on here is also Rocky's facsimile autograph. I don't know if you noticed that over here, which is beautiful as well.
Yeah, this piece is I would say what every penny. It's built
Michael,
so well.
let's just talk real quick here and brief. What goes into making a piece like this? How many man hours? How many months? How many weeks does it take you to get a finished product?
Starting on my side, I usually before I start a piece, I'm going to read about the character that I'm doing, and probably for 2 or 3 weeks, I'll go online, I'll go to the library, read, go through as many pictures as I can of the athlete, and try to pick out something that makes sense to show. I get one shot at it. I've got to show Rocky for his power and how devastating he was. So I thought with this La Starza fight showed what I needed in that particular image. But so I sculpt it. It takes about somewhere between 4 and 8 weeks to sculpt it. From there, once I got it where I want it, I'll break the piece down. When I say that, I cut the arms have to come off, the legs have to come off, and this piece is 18 different molds. And so when I'm done, I'll cut it apart so it all fits together like a puzzle. Then we'll start the molding process. In that molding process, we have to make we have to make the piece to take metal, to pour metal in. So we go from my clay, make the molds, make a resin prototype, which is the master mold. That can be shipped over to anywhere. We want to make bronze, pewter, porcelain, cold cast porcelain. So it depends on where I'm going to go with this. And this particular character, we're going with mixed metal pewter. So that's a high temperature mold. So I break it apart. We have to make the prototypes that will be masters. The masters are then molded again, and from there we can do our pieces. But they have to be, once they come out of the mold, they've got to be sanded and filed and then soldered back together and put on the base and go with the patina, which would be the bronzes, the golds, the silvers, and all that. And so we have a staff of people that have to be the people I think are the best in the world. They can't make the piece you have right there. You couldn't make it in England or in Europe. Even in the United States, I think we're the only founder that has the capabilities of making this piece the way it's done with the mixed metal. So we have real talented people that we're working with because we want to put something on the market that no one else can do and raise the height of the value on it. Mm-hmm. So anyways, it takes from start to finish, I would say, probably 6 months to a year before when I start the piece and it gets on the market, could be a year.
Wow. Yeah, Mike, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to see if maybe you can make a replica of me and we'll make a limited edition and we can sell.
You can make it out of doughboys.
What?
All right.
What do you
make
think,
cookies.
Billy? Would that sell, Billy?
What are you talking about? I'll
Listen,
put you with.
I'm with him. I'm on the side
All
of it.
right, we'll be back.
Let's talk about that later. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
When's Camacho coming?
We're back, Jack.
Mike, you back?
Yes.
yes.
What are we talking about? The
We were talking about
The
Dunkin' Donuts Center.
Hold on, I want to address something at the Dunkin' Donuts Center before we finish up with as far as the man hours you got into this.
Yeah, no, the Dunkin' Donuts Center. I don't reckon. I mean, that's the name of it, but it's always been the Civic Center to me. And anybody as old as dirt as me, we all know about the Civic Center. We have somebody who's what's that?
Lucio.
What do you say?
Says it's
Lucio.
called the dunk.
It's called the Dunk.
It's the dunk now.
We
For
know.
all you young bucks, it used to be the Civic Center. And that's where we go watch Andre the Giant battle Ultimate Warrior.
Right?
And who would win every time?
I tell you one thing. You're talking
Ultimate
about,
Warrior, dude.
Ultimate
That's
Warrior.
that's when Andre was in his down, when he was coming down. He was passing the buck.
Well, Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
Ultimate Warrior beat them all.
I tell you, I seen a fight there. As far as I'll never forget when Vinny passed for Joe Frazier's kid there.
Mm.
He
Oh,
sold
yeah.
that joint out with
Oh, yeah,
16,000
yeah.
people.
Yeah, he did.
So I mean, I'll never forget that. You
Yeah,
just talk
the
about
place
the
was
good old
rocking
days.
big time. Huh?
Absolutely.
Providence is a capital of boxing anyway.
Well,
isn't it, Billy?
yeah. Well, you got Providence, you got Brockton, you got as far as we're all in close proximity. We're all fighters anyway. Where we come from, we had to fight our way out.
Wait,
Where's he from?
speaking of,
Brockton, Mass.
wait, here's
Brockton, Mass.
another coincidence. Right across the street, we're sitting in my boxing gym in the ring right now talking to you. And right across the street from us is a building where Rocky Marciano actually fought in that building, Mr. Tuxedo, across the
Wow.
street.
Really?
Yeah.
That's right. You said that.
Yeah, there's history here in Centerdale for boxing and Rhode Island. There's a lot of history in Rhode Island. Jimmy Birchfield does a great job now. Jimmy does a
Absolutely.
tremendous job, in Rhode Island. He's making
I'm dying
it
to let
happen.
Mr. B see this, and I hate to say it. We talked about it.
Jimmy's gonna be a guest though. We got a lineup
We
coming.
gotta get Mr. B.
We're gonna have him in.
Absolutely.
That'll be classic.
Absolutely.
Just like the sports.
yes.
Nick,
yes.
Nick Albany's giving you guys a shout out. Said Joe, Jarrod, and Billy.
Hey, what's happening, Nicky boy? Great job on that little short you did, brother.
Yeah, that little with Anthony.
The conversation. I like it. I like
With Anthony.
Anthony. I don't know.
The little clip he did.
Yeah.
Good job. That was really good.
Yeah.
Anthony Acquisto. Anybody who don't know about Anthony Acquisto needs to look into him. Follow him on Facebook, like his page. He's this kid is going places. He's a good friend of mine, but he's a writer, and he does films, and he's so creative and he's so good at what he does. I mean, his vision is, I even said, I was talking to him about some personal stuff about my story, but he does it right. Anthony's a young talent coming up. Keep an eye out for this kid. And
Speaking of your story, it's Christmas time. It's Christmas time.
it is.
And I watch you day after day, hanging with them boys, having a good time, just doing the right thing as far as by your kids. What do you think about Christmas time, children, all that type of stuff?
Well, before we do that, let's because what we can do is instead of getting off on a side track, hold
Yeah,
that
yeah,
thought.
yeah,
We'll talk about that.
We're gonna
But
get
I
in.
want
We
to
gotta
finish
get
off
into
with
that,
Mike.
though.
Mike, tell us how many man hours you actually think you have into this project.
In sculpting,
No, just from start to finish, the finished product.
oh boy, I know that it takes us a year. The man hours, I don't know exactly because how each mold has got to be done, how many hours they're taking. It takes me a minimum of 100 hours to make a one character. So I'm good with for a month or somewhere between 4 and 8 weeks on my part to sculpt it and get it ready. And then, after that, it has to be done right. So whether it takes us another, 500 hours or 1,000 or 200, it's got to be done right. So I don't look at hours. I look at, is it right? Is it good? And if it's not, then we aren't done.
You got one chance to do it right.
Well, you know what they say. You don't have a second
You're
chance.
exactly right. I got one shot at this thing, and it better be right across the board. And that goes down to if I got the right scene for Rocky, and do we have the right colors to make it work? As far as the bronze compared to the pewter compared to the gold, we've got to make this thing. This is a rougher guy, so you can't make it in porcelain. It's got to be done in metals, and so there's a lot to it. But as far as how many hours, it's got to be right. So if we got to put an extra 300 hours into it, so be it. It's got to be right. That's the way.
I will tell you this, Mike. You don't have a second chance to make a first impression, and I must tell you, you got it right, brother.
Yeah, you
You
definitely.
really got it right. In
Thanks,
closing,
guys.
Tell all the audience out there where they can order these, as far as your website or whatever, how to get their hands on one of these.
You can find it at Roche Sculpture, ROCHE, Roche Sculpture, and the order. It's right on the front page now because it's brand new and it's just coming out. So it's important for us to give it a good shot.
Well, www.rochesculpture.com.
That's right, Billy. Yeah.
Okay. As far as for you people out there, Michael, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas to you and your family. And for you viewers out there, all I can tell you, if you're looking for not only a great collectible, but a great piece of art, this is your piece. Only $49. At the same time, once they're gone, they're gone. So get them while they have them. Get them while they're hot. And I tell you one thing, you will not regret it one bit. Thanks so much for being out with us, Michael. I appreciate it.
Mike, great
Thanks,
job.
Todd and Jarrod. I really
job with this,
appreciate it.
buddy.
Thank you so much for your time.
job.
Really,
I
thanks.
love it. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we had some difficulty last week with the audio with Hector Camacho Jr., but he's going to be coming in when we get back from a break. So
Stick with us.
stick with us, people. We got some
It's macho time.
It's macho time.
Yeah. Take a break.
Are we off?
I think we're on
it's okay.
pause.
How is-
You're back.
We're back.
All right.
I don't want to skip over that topic. I'm gonna keep going back to
Yeah, what's wrong?
the Christmas time, the kids.
Listen.
We have a goal in this We Rise thing, right?
Yeah.
And I want to hit that goal, and that goal is to rise, right?
Yeah.
So let's hit that goal, man. Let's stay focused on that goal.
To lift people.
Yeah.
And because going back to what you said about Christmas time and the boys,
Exactly.
the happiness in their eyes and the love in their eyes is motivating. Their eyes, the kids' eyes tell the story, and the way they look at daddy and love daddy, it just motivates me to just like be the best I can be every day.
So my question is, what if something got in your way of seeing them or being with them or being present and experiencing these moments with them? What if something got in your way?
You're asking me that.
What if something got in your way?
You're asking me that question?
What would you do? Would you give up? Would you fold? Would you push? Or is there anything that can get in your way?
I think definitely sometimes obstacles come in your path along the way where for whatever reasons it makes it difficult to be in contact with your child or your kids.
Yep.
I believe that. I 100% believe that.
Yes.
But that you got to do what you got to do to get where you have to be.
Yep.
So I think whatever it is, it is, right?
No excuses, right?
You have to.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, there's no excuses. You
excuses.
gotta go hard because your kids depend on you, and no matter what it is about people, my ex makes it hard, or the courts, or whatever. If the courts make it hard and it's difficult because of the courts,
Toughen up.
no, not so much toughen up.
Toughen up.
Not so much toughen up
I
because
think so.
this is what it comes down to. If the
Oh,
court,
don't give up.
if the court makes it difficult for you to see your child, then I think it's time to look in the mirror and say, what can I do differently?
Yeah.
Don't chalk it up.
Find a reason.
It's gut check time, because if the court's saying you can't be with your kids, then there's a reason why.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something you need to fix.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something that you need to stop. Maybe there's, whatever it is that you can't always blame people and things for your situation.
Well, that's kind of what I mean
and
by
your
toughen up, is
circumstances.
to take a self look.
Yeah,
Take a look at self and what you can do better.
Yeah,
To press forward and find your reasons and your whys.
Of course.
Instead of finding your excuses and your why you can't, you got to find your reason why you can.
And listen,
I
I think sometimes, Billy, correct me if I'm wrong, I think sometimes the reason people just throw their hands up and give up is because they feel like, it's so much work.
Yeah.
And because they got to go through the system, they got to go through courts, they got to pay child support, and because they see it as work, they're like, they walk away from it.
But don't you think anything in life that's worth anything, you have to work for it?
Yeah.
Not for nothing. Where I came from, where I grew up, I had no opportunity. My dad died when I was 8. My stepfather thought my name was Everlast. And I used to use that as far as that negative energy that I unfortunately had to walk into, undue to my own circumstance. And I used to say, why me? Why me? And then finally one day I started putting my sights on my goals and what I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And I said, why not me?
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as I don't think it's as many times as you fall. That counts as many times as you get back up.
Yeah, that's right.
You could fall 100 times, but you got to get up 101. And especially, you talk about the name of the show is We Rise.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. You just got to rise up and above it, mentally, emotionally, physically. And that's what's going to make your life. It's the people that quit along the road. That means they didn't want it bad enough.
That's right.
Okay? And that's what success is all about. Because the next guy may say, yeah, I want it too. But guess what? He wants to quit halfway through. So guess what? Let him quit. Because when he quits, when he's sleeping, I'm still going. That's just the way I roll. And that's why when they say, well, Bill, you did so much in your lifetime. You've accomplished so much. You know why? I paid the price to do it.
Yeah.
Well, Billy, you have a story about perseverance when it comes to being in your child's life.
Absolutely.
So everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own.
But you know what? I wore it out, bro. Because
Yeah.
what she tried to do is cause obstacles. Because the only way she could hurt me, unfortunately, is that I had success, I had fame, and the thing she said to me is, the only thing you won't have is your kid. So she did everything in her power to try to stand in my way for me to have a relationship. But guess what? The only thing she forgot was that I wasn't going away. I wasn't quitting. And guess what? Me and my son, we have a relationship together now today. Like, he calls me every day. It's like nothing ever happened. But that's my payback to her. Forget about calling her names. Forget about threatening her. Forget about any of that. The payback is that she didn't get what she wanted. So
I think I feel like the payback in that is living well with your son, because nothing else really matters.
listen, in the end of it all, as you guys know, I have cancer. God blessed me with material things. He blessed me with certain things, money, comfortability, homes. You know what matters is the times and the memories you share with the people you care and love about most.
Amen.
That's what real wealth is all about.
There we
And
go.
that's what your kids, no matter the people that you surround yourself by. You show me who you hang around with, I'll show you who you are.
I think the greatest gift and the greatest thing you can give your child is love.
Amen.
And I think the greatest gift, the second greatest gift you can give their child is, regardless if you get along with the other parent, husband, wife, whatever it is, you love for your children. Love their mother, love their father, for the sake of your children, because there ain't a better gift you can give your children than to love their mother or their father, even if you really don't.
Or even if you have to do it from a distance.
Even if you don't, you need to really you really need to show that, because that protects children from growing insecurities and reaching for outside outlets, drugs, and they hang with the wrong crowd because something scarred them in life. And maybe they don't have an outlet. Maybe they're not into sports. Then when you don't have an outlet and you don't have sports and you're hurt and broken and damaged, what do you do? What do? You stray, and that's why sometimes a lot of people do come from that, but sports saves them, and then they have an outlet. They have boxing to go to. They have the YMCA to go to. What about the kids that aren't athletes? They hang around, they're smoking cigarettes, they're hanging with this crew, and next thing you know, everything starts going down.
Well, I think I read, it was something in Reader's Digest a while back. I think it was Reader's Digest, or it was an article. They did a study on how like 97 or 98% of all human problems can be connected to a father not being in the home. So whether he passed away, whether he wasn't present, or whether he was there but he was just not there. You know what I'm saying?
It's not
Or
just
whether
fathers. It's
no,
mothers,
this is fathers. This was a study done on fathers. So now, further along in another study, they were talking about how mothers and fathers parent two completely different ways, but they complement each other. You know what I'm saying? So maybe your way is different from their way, and you don't agree on whatever. They complement each other. But that's why mothers and fathers is so important to have both parents in this situation, if can be. You know what I'm saying?
If can be.
If can be. Some people
If
pass
you're
away.
not-
Some things
If,
happen. You know what I'm
if
saying?
you're not in a box 6 feet under,
Yeah. Exactly.
if you're not in a box 6 feet under, then you can be. Make it happen. Find a way.
That brings us to our next.
There's more to talk
Yes,
about on
we're gonna
that
keep.
topic
We're
later,
gonna keep going.
Let's
on
bring-
that
let's
throughout
bring-
the weeks, but we gotta.
Go ahead, introduce
It's
it.
macho time.
It's macho
Let's
time.
go. Bring them up on.
It's macho time.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Welcome back.
It's good to be on, Jarrod. It's great to be on with you guys, man. We shall rise, man. It's good to be on. We're in tough times. It's good to stay positive and keep pushing forward.
035.
Yeah.
035.
1 second.
035.
Yep.
48.
Jarrod just gave us his bank account number and the password.
Good thing.
Hector, what's
Good
going
thing.
on, brother?
Nothing much, but you got to Texas, man. spend a little time here if I go back to training camp. If I start training camp, I should say. So I'm excited. I've been out the ring for a long time, and just to start training camp is the excitement itself. You know about that, Jarrod. You know how it feels. So I can't wait to get back in the ring and start getting myself in form again.
Are you at the gym again?
No, I'm home actually. Came out the gym. I'm home. I'm relaxing.
Because it's a little bit of interruption like last time, but I think we're gonna get past that in a second.
No. Everyone can hear me.
Yeah,
All right, you can keep going.
Yeah.
You're good. There's a delay, so you can't use this, but he's good. Just
Can you? How's that, Hector? Better?
I'm waiting for the bell to ring. I'm ready to go.
I don't understand. Like he's good,
easy.
but we can't hear what he's saying. Though, how can we talk to him? Hector, I don't know why. It's just
Go
not.
ahead, ask him a question.
Yeah.
The host,
Now,
unmute
you're
my
not in New
mic.
York right now, right?
I'm in Texas.
Might be on delay.
He's in Texas. No kidding. Are you in training camp in Texas?
No, I'm out here just relaxing, getting myself together before I start training camp.
You put a post that you was training tonight before coming on live with us. Did you get that training in?
Yeah, I got that workout a little bit. You know, I do it to give me sanity, to stay sane. You know, once a fight, you always a fighter, so you don't forget those crabs. And it's a routine that I'm used to doing. So yeah, man, it feels good to stay in motion.
There you go.
Nice.
You ready for Christmas, brother?
Yeah, I'm not want to celebrate Christmas, but I have daughters, and you know, they do. So you know, yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to be over and start the new year. We had a rough 2020.
Yeah, I know. We gotta get rid of 20. We gotta get to 2021.
Yes, but nonetheless, I'm grateful for 2020. We still alive. A lot of people left 2020. So
amen.
at the
we gotta be
positive
grateful.
side, we passed we passed the storm.
Yes.
We passed the knockdown. Now it's time to get up and keep fighting.
Yeah, amen. Hey, Hector, what's your mom's name?
My mom is Maida. We call her Myra.
Myra. I think she's friends with me now. I think she said hello to me in Messenger.
Okay.
I think
Good,
so,
good.
sweetheart.
Yeah, you know, a big part of me is because of her, you know?
Yeah.
So she's protective because she's watching out for the people you're dealing with.
Yes, she is.
You know, that's just a mother being a mother. She always been good. I was young. I couldn't have the friends. I couldn't have my kind of friends that I picked. She wanted to pick my friends. That's just life, man. That's being a mother.
She kept you safe.
So Hector,
She did.
I got a good friend of mine, Billy Vigeant, on, who is a big sports figure. He's very familiar with Dad and your career.
I met your dad. I knew your dad.
How you doing, Billy? It's a pleasure being you. It's a pleasure being on talking to you.
Pleasure of mine, all mine, Hector. Yeah, your father, I give him a lot of credit. He had a lot of charisma, character. I gotta tell you, and he was a hell of a fighter.
You know, God like Macho Camacho. You know, fighters are born every day, but fighters such as Macho Camacho, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Bill Duran, those are great fighters. They leave their mark in boxing. And my father's one of the rare ones that left a long mark. You see fighters today wearing the Macho Man outfit, Macho Man trunks. You see the ring entrance today. Canelo this past Saturday, the ring entrance. That all started with the Macho Man, the pioneer of it.
It did. You're right. He was doing it just like
He came out with the Spartan hat. I can still remember that, man.
Yeah, the Trojan hat. He brought that flair to boxing. How much would a Macho Camacho be worth nowadays? Big time money.
I did an event and I wore that whole Trojan garb because I seen your father wear it. When I did, I came in on a gondola on the water with celebrities in the gondola.
Oh,
I saw
cool.
your father wear it.
Cool. You know what the other side to that? If you wear those outfits, you better be damn sure, damn confident that you're gonna win that fight.
Yo, it's funny you say that. That's why I never gave myself a nickname, because I was like, I just said Jarrod Tillinghast because I felt like, what am I gonna do? Like, who am I, Jarrod the what? Like something I gotta live up to. And like you said, you wear an outfit like that, you better be able to fight. You better
You better
ready.
fight.
You better
The
be
Macho
ready.
Man warrior with confidence. You know, Jarrod, I relate to you a lot because your story is similar to mine. Even though your story is a much more rougher story and much more bigger when you look at it. But we both had shoes to fill.
Yes.
We
Amen
both
to
had big
that.
fathers to fill. Me,
Yeah.
I knew what I was getting into when I went to boxing. I knew I'm gonna turn that shadow into a light. It's gonna be a light. It's not gonna be a shadow. 'Cause I would never compete against my father. But I'll use that shadow as a light to guide my career. And that's what I've done.
Yeah.
I've been
You
the
know,
best that I could do.
that's why, you know, right away when me and you started talking, I kind of related to you right away.
Oh yeah.
I love how, you know, no matter what, it doesn't change the legacy of who you are. But the way you did it was different than the way he did it outside the ring, living
And
your
you know what's
life.
funny? It's similar to the way your father did it and the way you did it.
It's
So you
crazy.
know, it gotta take a special person for that to happen. Cause look at the Chavez Jr. Look at the other Junior. You get caught up in that limelight. You get caught up in that. Even your depression. You see Chavez doing crazy things, maybe taking drugs. It's that pressure, that depression. I knew I was smart enough to know I'm gonna be the best me. I'm not
Yes.
here to compare to my father. I'm not gonna live up to that pressure. Why? I don't have to. He already did it for me. So let me do it my way. And it worked, man. It
Yeah,
worked.
listen, man. I love what you do. You know, Camacho's out giving back to the community. He's making sure he's feeding people. The work you're doing outside, it's night and day compared to the work Dad did, and I
Th-
really love that about you. And it's not
Thanks
easy
for
when you grow
recognizing
up.
that. Thanks for
It's not.
recognizing that.
That's right. And you know what else, Hector, that I really admire is it's not easy to grow up. You know, pay attention, people listening, so you don't make excuses for your life. Hector Camacho, both his parents were in gangs. His mom did prison time and she was a gang member. His dad was one of the wildest Puerto Ricans you're going to meet. He had no reason to make it. He had every excuse to quit and throw the towel and say, because of this is my life. But he didn't. And that's what is special about you, Hector. I really admire that.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. And I guess that's a lot I do with my surrounding and also who I was. Yeah, I was Camacho Jr. Yeah, my father was that big, flashy icon fighter. But I was still in the hood, in the pissy hallways in the project. I used to get picked on. You Camacho? Why your father fighting HBO and you still live in the projects? I used to get picked on. So I knew what it was. I knew what it was to have nothing. We had nothing. My father made it. So we know what it is to have everything and lose it and still bounce back up. That's life.
That's
So sometimes, you know,
that's what it is, man.
sometimes everybody dealt with cards, and most majority people, we dealt with cards that we gotta deal with. That's our card. That's our hand we got. We gotta work with the cards we have. You gotta play that poker face. You gotta keep pushing forward. I always dealt with cards that was against me. Because my father was Camacho. I had big shoes to fill. I wasn't trying to fill those shoes. I said, let me be smarter. I'll become better outside the ring. I will give back. I will help. Something he didn't do. That's what I want to do. 'Cause I look back and I ask myself, you know, my father was who he was, but what did he give back to the kids, to the youth, to the community? I mean, I'm in the streets every day and I see the kids in the streets and they basically giving up. They don't have no future. I'm telling them, listen, a guy who lived in the same building named Hector Luis Camacho came from Puerto Rico. He didn't speak English. He came from Puerto Rico straight to New York City at the age of 6. And he made it to the White House. What's your excuse? Anything possible.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I had something that I noticed a lot of that I've been noticing a lot of you know, kids that come up and follow in their parents' career, like of boxing or things like that. It seems like they become very talented or well off, like you, for example, 36 fights without a defeat before you know seen a defeat. It seems like you know, look at Mayweather, you know, you and your father. A lot of these, it seems like a lot of these boxers can go pretty far or are well off with. So even if their father wasn't as good as your father, or you know, just knew the sport and fought at a lower level, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you've noticed that, but I've noticed that.
He made a good point earlier, and you're right. Just to answer, to bounce off of what you just said, not everybody can do it because you have the Chavezes of the world who go fall on their face. It takes a certain person.
Well, and then it's the person.
It takes a certain individual because listen, because if you grow up and you think you have these expectations of being somebody you're not, then you have no identity. And with no identity on who you are, you're trying to be somebody that you're not. Instead of just doing it your way and doing it your way, but persevering through it. All these other,
So he was surrounded by your uncles and family members. They were all boxers, correct?
My uncle was a champion, Felix Camacho, Felix Showtime Camacho. My father was
so
too.
He decided.
I picked up things from them like we all supposed to do. Like I tell the young fighters nowadays, learn the game, learn the business side of boxing, learn how to market yourself. Because let me tell you the truth, in reality, 95% of fighters retire broke. From boxing, we don't have life insurance. We don't have retirement. We don't have 401k plan. Boxing is an effed up sport, so you gotta learn how to make the best out of it. I learned from my father how to market myself, how to make myself relevant, how to do things, and I take those kind of things and I apply it to myself every day in life outside the ring. How to market myself. So that's what helped me, and not just I have the legacy, because my brothers have the legacy. Jorge Paez Jr. had the legacy. Chara Jr. had the legacy. We all have a legacy. So it's what we do with the legacy.
Exactly.
You're doing it
And
well.
fighters gotta get smart nowadays. They gotta learn how to market themselves. That's very important. You have to put butts in the seats.
It's so true. It's so true about the marketing. Watching your dad in the 80s and 90s, no one did it better. I mean, no one did it better. He came out. The way he came out, people would tune in just to see what outfit he wore. He sold tickets, and he was very good at what he did. But you're right; it's that marketing, and you do it very well too. You do the same thing.
I think I learned from the best.
Yeah.
The documentary, it shows the best. After the Rosario fight, when the boxing world turned on my father, when he finally got hit and stung, he started moving. The boxing world turned on him, and what he did. He went back to the laboratory. He started drawing. The creative side of him came out. He came out for the Chapo fight, Rosario fight, which is a negative. He came back dressing like an Indian. He became marketing himself. He changed his ways of being. He got creative. He learned how to market himself. Because after the Chapo Rosario fight, the boxing world turned on him. So what he did, he turned it back on them.
So isn't that the way it goes? When you're on top, everybody's next to you. And that's not just in boxing, that's in life. When you go down rock bottom, nobody there. There's no one there but you. You're the only one
There's
down.
a couple.
There's a few there.
There's a couple of your family members.
Well, some
people
friends
that you had already.
Some friends are family. So, it doesn't always have to be your family because you could have friends out of your family that are there for you. But when you're on top, everybody wants a piece. Everybody wants to hold on to your coattail. Something happens and we fall, and you look around, those same people that are right there are gone. That's part of life. That's part of life. Welcome to the
thankful.
World.
I'm thankful to have my father who he was. I saw a lot. I've seen people come up to for autograph, and after you get the autograph, once he turns it back, they're talking shit about him.
Yeah,
I'm watching. I always keep my eyes open. I just always watch my father, so I know how cold this world is, and I learned from that. That's why my entourage is my family. My entourage is my guardians angels. I'm a loner. And for a reason I'm like that. Because you're right. When things happen, you alone. You get to think back. I love being alone. I love to meditate, take my time out and think for myself. We call that shit self-inventory. And you know who you are. But if you live with a shadow or you try to be something you are not, that's a lot of pressure. That's just too much to deal with.
It's too much. And you can't be the best you can be in the ring when you're not at peace with yourself. You got to be at peace with yourself and who you are. And that will get the best out of you in your training and life. You can't.
I don't think the the boxing world or the boxing fan know how hard it is to become a fighter? Because not only do you deal with training, you deal with out of the ring stuff.
That's what I'm
Family,
talking about.
friends, tickets. You might have a strange relationship with your own manager, your own team you're fighting, or you got a problem with your wife. People don't know what you go through outside the ring. They just see you for about an hour when the bell rings, and that's it. After that, they don't know your life story. They don't know what's going on.
It's
So
true. It's so true.
fighters
But
go through
like you said,
so many things, man. It's about having a strong mind going forward. Look at Canelo, for example. Canelo had to face adversity. He just got off. A court case against Golden Boy Dazin. He had his own problems. He hasn't fought for a long time. To turn right back and fight a guy 6'4" and just not only that, it's an art to slip and cut the distance.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you gotta be a special fighter. And you gotta be strong-minded to be great.
Hector, what do you think of this? Every time we talk about, when you talk about Canelo, you talk about Triple G kind of in the same sentence because they're similar. And then you think about how, Canelo's he's a bad man. He could do it. But you think about how easily Floyd Mayweather beat them.
yeah, but Canelo was when he was a baby, man.
I'm not a
There's a different
listen,
Canelo.
Hector, I know what you're saying, but listen to me. I know it's a different Canelo, but pay attention. Regardless of how you feel about what, when, and how, fact is, Floyd Mayweather makes those dudes look like amateurs. That's it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I wouldn't debate about you, Jarrod, because you was a bad man in the ring yourself. So you know how special it is. I don't care if Canelo was a kid. Floyd looked flawless. And through his whole career, Floyd had looked flawless. Say what you want to say. He moves, he fights. We have to appreciate fighters like that. Us boxing fans, we don't appreciate fighters. We don't. When Floyd was around, we didn't appreciate the beauty. Canelo's around, appreciate the beauty. When they gone, you're gonna miss it. Floyd was a thing of art and beauty.
Well, I feel the same way about Canelo right now.
I know, but if Floyd fought Canelo again, he'd make him look like he had 3 fights in the amateurs.
You're trying to knock him down now.
I'm not knocking him down. I'm just speaking facts.
He just beat the guy, like he said, 6'4". He walked out of there, it looked like he had an extra arm on his arm.
And then he get in there with a guy 4'1" that made him look like nothing.
It's called boxing. You will not understand unless you're in that square circle. It's called boxing.
Yeah, I understand. I got 24 pro fights.
He's a pro fighter. He does mixed martial arts. They call him the Hulk. He just destroys buildings.
Oh, he does mixed martial arts? Oh, shit. No, you're crazy. You're a bad boy then. You're a bad boy. I respect your guys. I respect your guys.
They call me the bulk.
The bulk. Listen,
Jarrod, you don't need no bodyguards. You don't need Italian gangs. You don't need your mobsters. You okay?
Yeah, we're heavy here in New England, buddy. We're heavy.
We make those calls, though.
Nah, but you were saying it, though. Like, even like your father, he had that fight where it was close, and then he started, after that, he got smart. He was moving. He didn't want to take a lot of beating. So, like him, when he got up, it's like America does that. You were saying it. They build their boxes up, and then they try to tear them down for what reason, I don't know. You know what I mean?
And we fall into that trap.
There's a lot of, listen, there's vultures and there's a lot of dirt. There's a black eye in all sports when it comes to the fight game.
Yeah, but this is a dirty game. This is a dirty game.
Everybody's trying to listen. That boxing there's behind the scenes stuff that goes down, and if you're not connected with the right people that care about you, that love you, you could become a victim of your circumstances.
Absolutely.
Very easily in this racket. This is
it doesn't matter how good you are either. If you're in the wrong hands, you will not make it.
That's right.
I give you an example. Floyd Mayweather wasn't Floyd Mayweather until he got the money team around him. Al Heyman, then Leonard, then he became the smart man. Before the Gaddy fight, he wasn't packing out fights. He wasn't for Triple Gaddy. It was barely getting packed. It was after that he became the Floyd Mayweather, getting the right team around them. It's so important to have the right team around you.
Yeah, Hector, we got like 5 minutes left over here, but
it's macho time.
Hey,
the floor is yours.
Macho time. When I watched Dad in the early parts of his career, before Don King came around, man, was he fast, strong. See, I didn't realize until I started watching them young fights, he was a vicious puncher. He could punch back in them days.
People don't give him credit for that. And his punching came from angles you don't see. His speed was his power, but he had
That's where
power.
you got your angles from. I watched you. You got angles.
Yeah, I used them both. I'm more of a punk to get leverage off my shots.
We have a similar style, always moving on angles and fighting on our toes.
That takes a lot of work and a lot of condition. People understand that.
Absolutely.
It takes a lot of work, condition, and timing to be able to bounce and fight for 12 rounds, 10 rounds. That's an art not everybody has.
You're right.
Absolutely.
100%.
You'll see
No
guys
sex.
out doing it for
No
one.
sex before the fight.
To confirm this appointment, please
What's
stay
that?
on the line. And if you cannot make it,
Is that your phone?
That's your phone. No sex before the fight if you're a boxer who likes to move.
No sex before the fight.
No sex before the fight.
Hey, yeah, put that there in his test.
What's that? Yeah, Hector, man, I'm looking forward to when you come down with me. Me and you, we got work to do, man. We're gonna do something.
Yes, we do. For the community. Yes, we do for the community, brother. I'm all forward. We shall rise. As macho time, we're going forward. I'm here for you anytime, Jarrod. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Bill. We talk
man.
later.
We love you, man. Much love.
All right, brother. Macho
All right,
time.
Hector.
Merry Christmas. We gotta keep getting him on.
Yeah,
I gotta give the word of the week. It goes again with this one, right? So proverb, it goes again with what he was saying earlier. Proverbs 24:16. For though a righteous man falls 7 times, they rise again, but the wicked stumble when calamity strikes.
We rise.
Bang.
Amen. Till next
Bang.
week, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. I'll be announcing who we have coming on next week. What a story. I'm inspired just talking to him, and this is a little different. It's gonna be a little different, but that's what we do. We're about everything. We're not labeled one
Sticking
thing.
and moving.
I want to thank you guys too, as far as number one, give me the opportunity to give you guys an opportunity to show something that nobody has right now.
That was big.
And on Michael Roche's behalf, I know he appreciated being here. So thank you guys so
We
much.
appreciate you too.
Yeah, that was it was good. It was a good show today. We're closing out with Hector. Next week we're gonna be mixing it up a little bit. We've been talking about doing this setting a little different, but right now we're off. Todd, Billy, some people's eyebrow.
Merry people's elbow.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. That's right.
Keep God in Christmas.
That's right. Amen.
Remember, a handsome sandwich I am. You ain't gonna get it anywhere.
Next week I'm bringing mustard. Rub it on your head.
I don't mind mustard. You can put mustard all over me. I love that. I'll leave it.
I'm out of here.
Squirt mustard on it.
Get a little crazy.
Just put it there.
Good show.
Good job.
Good job.